So I'm Callie.
I'm Bean.
So today we're going to talk about, obviously you clicked on the video, our April TBR. We know it's a little late, but yeah, still see our lovely collection, which you actually can't see as I'm looking at it. It's tall. So the first book that I plan on reading in April is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexander Christo. We met Alexander Christo and Trisha Levenseller, author of Warrior in the Wild. We met them, and that's why we wanted to read their books. They were so cute and just so nice. She described this book as like an almost reverse Little Mermaid. We follow a siren named Lyra, who her whole goal in life is to kill princes, but when she accidentally saves one, her mother punishes her by turning her into a human. And in order for her to gain favor back with her mother, she has to kill the prince that she accidentally saved. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to read this. I love Little Mermaid. That's why I have red hair.
And she has...
I have Little Mermaid things everywhere.
Several of them.
I'm really excited to read this one. It's mermaids, and the way she described it, she just gushed over her own book, which was so cool.
It's adorable.
It was adorable.
So the first book that I'm going to be reading this month is The Perfect Assassin by K.A. Dorr. This is a fantasy book about he's like a 16-year-old boy named Amistan who has gone through training to become an assassin. However, he doesn't really want to be an assassin. He wants to be something different. He doesn't want to be a glassblower like his father, and his father's really pissed at him that he was chosen to become an assassin after he passes, but then realizes there are no contracts and they can't be assassins. They can't go around killing people unless there are contracts. And so he's really relieved about this. He is studying to be a historian, and then all of a sudden one of the tribe leaders is found dead. And so he gets sent on a mission to figure out who is killing the tribe leader. This is a library book. Main character is really adorable because he wants to be an assassin, but he's scared of heights, he's scared of the dark, and he's scared of dead things.
Quality assassin.
He's so cute!
The next books I want to read, you'll quickly find I like to read an entire series in like one go. Sarah will... She doesn't do that. I like to read them all. So the series that I'm reading next is the Seven Realms series by Cinda Williams Chima. So that starts off with the Demon King. Thank you. Then the Exiled Queen, the Grey Wolf Throne, and the Crimson Crown. So this is 4 books. I'm actually currently reading, I'm on book 3 right now. So this series follows 2 characters. We follow Han, who is a thief and former street lord, who's just trying to make his way in the world and make a living. And then we also follow the... I can do it! If you've read the Six of Crows duology, he kind of gives me like Kaz Brecker vibes. And then we also follow the Princess Heir, Reza, who's trying to, the general princessy, I don't want to do princessy things, I want to do other things that aren't Princess Heir things. It follows those 2 characters on their journey, and when they meet, shit in the Seven Realms starts to hit the fan really hard. There's wars going on. Reza is getting marriage proposals she doesn't want. So it's following these 2. So far, I'm really enjoying the series. Like I said, I'm on the 3rd book already.
It's only the 10th.
And it's only the 10th of the month. So I've heard really good things about it. I know this is an older YA series. Like, I know this has been out for a long time. So I'm just trying to catch up on all the things I missed when I didn't read for, like, college.
The next book I will be reading is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. This is a nonfiction book about the Great Library Fire at the Los Angeles Public Library in 1986. And this just follows one woman, Susan Orlean, who goes to the library to do research on the Great Fire and learns what happens and who might have set it. This is a book that I got through Book of the Month. So I do Book of the Month each month, and this is one of the books that I ended up picking, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be one of my nonfiction reads for this month. Next book I will be reading is The Girl King by Mimi Yu. As you can tell, this is a library book. I love using the library. It's great.
Support your local library.
Please do. But this is a YA book about 2 sisters who are the children of the emperor, and one has kind of accepted that she's going to be empress, and she's been training for that, and her sister has accepted that she's going to be in the shadows, and she doesn't really want to be Empress. And then all of a sudden, their father names their male cousin as the heir, and these two just get super pissed off.
Naturally,
Right.
I'd be pissed.
I'd be pissed too. And they end up as unwitting rivals to try and one of them wants to get the throne. But I'm really looking forward to this. I've heard really good things about this book, and I've heard it's a bit like a Mulan kind of story.
Like if Mulan was actually a princess.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibes I get.
Like if Mulan was a princess and had a sister. So.
Solid. Yeah. Next one on my TBR is Mirror Mirror by Jen Calonita. I apologize if I butchered that. This book comes out on April 2nd, which obviously should be out. I have a physical copy. This is the 6th book in the Twisted Tales. I don't want to call it a series because none of them are connected, and they're all written by, not all of them, but most of them are written by different authors. Basically what these books do is they take the movie of, they've all been princesses so far.
They're all Twisted Tales.
Yeah, they're all
That's really
Twisted
what they're
Tales.
called.
So what they do is they take one decision or one thing that happened within the movie and change it.
From the
Almost
original story,
flip
yeah.
it. Yeah, from the original movie, Disney movie, this is owned by Disney, and they change it. So I really enjoyed all these books. So the twist in this one is, instead of poisoning Snow White, what if the evil queen poisoned the prince instead? So what I really like about these books is each one,
Poison the boy.
yeah, no matter the twist, it always empowers the princess more. It gives her more power. I've always really enjoyed these. I'm a huge Disney nerd. In case you can't tell from like the Pegasus, I've got Stitch, Ariels are everywhere.
She has Mickey Mouse.
I have Mickey, which I'm probably blocking, but I love Disney. They're really good. They're just so different. The only one I didn't care for was the Aladdin one. And that was because the twist didn't happen until like where the middle of the movie is.
Oh.
And so the first half of the book, you're basically reading the movie. So that one was but it was the first one.
That's
so
fair.
they
Figuring things out.
Literally they get better each one. So currently my favorite is the Little Mermaid one. Also biased. I love Little Mermaid. So I have really high hopes for this.
On brand. Your brand is Little Mermaid.
My brand is Little Mermaid. Done. Sold! So I'm excited to see if this series will continue. I will continue to support it because Disney.
Alright, the next book that I will be reading, I do not have a physical copy of because it is an ARC, and it is No Country for Old Gnomes by Delilah S. Dawson and Kevin Hearn. This is the second book, Tales of Kel series. The first book was quite hilarious. I also had a arc of that one. It was To Kill the Farm Boy. Or it was Kill the Farm Boy.
Right.
And it's basically if Monty Python met the Princess Bride. So it's all humor, and it's all basically taking your stereotypical fairy tale story and just turning it on its head. Like, for instance, in the first one, they call him the Poo Boy because he picks up the poo of the goats.
Naturally.
So he picks up goat poop. That's his job. The Poo Boy gets chosen as the chosen one, and he's the farm boy, and he dies. This isn't a spoiler. He dies by chapter 3. And then the goat becomes the chosen one, and it's just so great. And the pixie that gives him the powers, she's like drunk off her ass, and it's just great. It's so funny. And
So Monty Python meets Princess Bride meets Ella Enchanted.
Basically, that is a very good way.
These books.
They're so good, so hilarious, and just a pick-me-up. But honestly, I cannot recommend the series enough.
So the next book, actually, I don't have yet, is Defy Me by Tahara Mafi, which is the 5th book in the Shatter Me series. I read the entire series in January of this year and fell in love with it. I was hesitant to read it because I heard a lot of mixed reviews on it. It was you either love it or you hate it. And I think that has to do with her writing style, because what you follow with the Shatter Me series is there's a lot of things crossed off because it's almost written in like a diary form.
Oh.
At least the first few
I haven't
books
read it yet.
Yeah, I'm making her read it.
I will be reading
eventually.
it soon.
But like, so there's things crossed off, but they're not crossed off where you can't read it. You can still read it, but it's like you see her thought process, which I really like, is you're following this main character who Basically, it's superheroes in a dystopian era. Juliet is our main character who has been in an asylum for almost a year or over a year. And she gets let out. Her touch can kill people. Kind of think of Rogue from X-Men. Her touch kills people. And she doesn't want to be used when she gets out, which is what the army wants to do. They want to use her as a weapon. She doesn't want to be a weapon.
Typical.
And it's her trying to figure everything out. And the series is just so beautifully written. I love the diary way that it's written out because, like, you see, as this series evolves, there's less things crossed out, the more confident she gets in herself. Which is really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, because so, like, the more you see Juliet develop, the less things are crossed off in the book. Which is really neat. And we have all these other cast of characters that just develop so beautifully. I obviously won't go into it because of spoilers, but highly recommend it if you like to kind of get inside. It was kind of a good representation of, like, anxiety and depression, because, like, when she's crossing off stuff like that, you can tell it's her anxiety, like, shit, I shouldn't say that, even though it's, like, her personal diary, like, no, don't say that, that's bad, which is really cool. I love reading things about anxiety. They're just so different, and everyone's experience with anxiety is different, which I really like, that this was just sort of a way. So I'm really excited to read Defy Me. I'm not looking forward to the fact that there's going to be, like, 2 more books, and I'm going to have to wait.
Really? Oh.
I think so. I think
Sad
it's
news.
6 or 7. I don't remember.
Next book I'm going to be reading this month is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. I'm actually really interested in this one. This one just came out as well. It follows 2 high school girls who are soccer players, I believe, and this is a contemporary, so not fantasy. First non-fantasy, I guess.
I think, yeah.
Oh,
well, no, you have to do some nonfiction.
But, yeah, no, this is contemporary, no fantasy involved, and it's very gritty from what I understand, but these 2 girls end up in a car accident. And after this car accident, they both have surgery, and they end up getting put on pain medication. And it's all about one girl who she makes it through the recovery process without any problems, and she gets back in, and I think she gets back to playing, and then the other girl starts struggling with addiction. She ends up becoming addicted to these pain medications and how that affects her life and her future. And I'm really interested in this, and I have a feeling it's going to be a heartbreaker.
Oh, yeah.
But I heard such good things about Mindy McGinnis' writing. I'm not sure if I've read anything by her, in all honesty. I don't think I have.
I haven't.
I'm very interested in this one. It's a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, for contemporary, it's pretty long.
It is. I did notice when I first got this book, it's over 400 pages, but I did notice in the back there's a bunch of stuff, like information for help on addiction, on suicide prevention. So this one does have trigger warnings.
Okay.
For drug addiction, I believe, depression, and suicidal thoughts.
I would assume so.
It's been a good month, so I think I can read it this month, which is very exciting. The next one I'm going to read is Ruin of Stars by Lindsay Miller. Now, this book is a sequel, and it is the second book in the Mask of Shadows. I think it's just a duology. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I read Mask of Shadows, the first book in the series, when it first came out, and I loved it. It was my favorite book of, I think it was 2017, actually, when it came out. I think it was my favorite book of the year. The main character is gender fluid, which, how often do you read a book about a gender fluid main character?
Especially in what, fantasy?
Especially in fantasy, especially in YA fantasy. And the thing that, like, really got me just for that part, not the rest of the story. I'll get into the rest of the story, because that's also awesome. But the rest of the world just was like, okay.
Right, they just accepted.
They just went with it, and it's like, yep, that's how it is. Okay, cool. And so I thought that was really cool, and I was like, world, I want to live here, please, thank you. But the whole thing with this is that I'm actually going to describe the first book, not this one, because spoilers. But in the first book, our main character's name is Sal, and they enter a contest to become the Queen's assassin. And there are, you enter this contest, and you either win or you die. Like, there is no way out of this contest. Mm-hmm. It was so interesting because Sal also made friends with a lot of people and made a lot of enemies as well. And you kind of learn about Sal's history and the fact that their village was burnt by one of these other tribes in the area, and it's a very intense book, and it doesn't stop. It's nonstop action. Sal is a complete badass, and I am so excited to read this book.
It kind of reminds me of like Throne of Glass feels.
At least like the first Throne
of Glass.
Yeah, for sure.
The first book in Throne of Glass.
Not to mention, it's really pretty.
I do really love the cover.
The covers of these books are just gorgeous, and I love Lindsay Miller's writing style.
We don't always condone judging a book by its cover, but we do it all the time. So the next book on my list is Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schultz. Again, I have the Owl Crate edition, so she does book box, or what is Book of the Month. I do Owl Crate.
And every so often I'll do one of the special edition Spearcraft boxes.
So we'll have unboxings for you. Eventually, when we get that far.
When we figure shit
out. So, Four Dead Queens, from what I understand, is it's like a sci-fi fantasy. Mm-hmm. It follows a thief who gets a hold of like these documents that basically say that like the four queens are dead, hence the title. So she's now inside this conspiracy, and what I like about this is it's like the land is split into 4 quadrants, each ruled by a queen. And each quadrant, kind of think Hunger Games, has their own thing. There's the technology quadrant, mm-hmm. There's the agriculture quadrant. I don't remember the other 2, but I know those 2 are in it.
Yeah.
So she has to figure out, is this real? Are the queens actually dead? Who killed them? So she's caught in this conspiracy, but also wants to know what happened to the queens, because I think she is a thief for one of the queens.
Yeah.
This just came out in February, so I'm really excited to get to this book. I think this is actually a standalone, which is not very common of fantasy.
Not, especially YA fantasy.
Yeah. I think this is a standalone. I don't know. If there's a cliffhanger, I'll be pissed. But if there's a second book, I'll be a lot happier.
Yeah.
So, the last books that I plan on reading are the other series by Cinda Williams-Chima, which is the Shattered Realms series, starting with Flamecaster.
Which I love this new cover.
I do. I love the new ones.
The new covers are
Shadowcaster, Stormcaster, and then Deathcaster, which just came out in March.
Nice catch.
Thank you. That was impressive.
I went to
so I know these take place in the same realm as the Seven Realms King series that I'm currently reading, but these happen
after
20 years after.
You all right there?
Yeah, I'm good. I felt a little bit. So these
We're not drunk, I promise.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Sorry. What?
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, these take place like 20 years after the events of the Seven Realms series. So I actually haven't really read what they're about because I don't want to spoil myself for the other series. But that's about all I know, and I know that this is the last one. But look at that art! The art's so pretty. So these will be the last books that I read this month because I need to read a whole series, and I know that these are technically a different series, but they're within the same world, and I know the other characters are in this series, but they're not the main protagonists.
Fair enough. So, this is going to be, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent because this month I'm actually doing the Owls, the OWLs, that are hosted by
Book Roast.
G over at Book Roast.
Which we will link down
below. So yeah, we'll link her video down below. I attempted to do these last year and completely failed. So we're going to try this again.
I was a little late to the game, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I'd already set my TBR when she told me about it, and I'm like, not changing.
Yeah, so I will be doing the OWLs this month, and then I think it's in June or July, she has Newts. Maybe it's August. I don't remember. And so depending on what you read for OWLs determines what you can read for Newts, which is kind of cool. I think that's a really cool concept.
I think it's a neat concept.
So I'm actually going to go through all of the books that I will be reading for my OWLs. I'm not going to give a long description of each of them because there's like 8.
Yeah.
I'm reading a lot of books. Okay. But the first one I will be taking is going to be Ancient Runes. And for that I will be reading Sherwood by Megan Spooner, which is a retelling. So that was the prompt for this. And this is a Robin Hood retelling, or at least I'm going with it. And it's basically Maid Marian and Robin Hood are engaged. And then Robin Hood dies, and Maid Marian ends up taking over as Robin Hood, as the Green Hood, basically. And so I'm really intrigued to read this one. I love Megan Spooner's writing. I read her last book, Hunted, in one sitting, and that was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So I highly recommend that one, and I'm really excited about this one, and I will let you know what I think. The next one I will be reading is for Arithmancy, And I'm going to be reading No Country for Old Gnomes, which I have already talked about, so I'm not going to talk about it again. And then for astronomy, I will be reading Ruin of Stars. The prompt was a book with the word star in the title. I already talked about this one, so I'm not going to get into this one anymore. The next one I will be doing is Care of Magical Creatures, where I will be reading Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. All I know about this book is that they're shapeshifters. And honestly, that's all I needed to know, because I have a thing for shapeshifters. I love them. The prompt for Care of Magical Creatures was a land animal on the cover, I believe.
Yes.
And we're pretending that this mask is an actual land animal, because I just really wanted to read this book. The next book I will be reading is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which is an adult book, and it is for charms. I believe the prompt for this one was just to read an adult book. I don't have the list of what the prompts were in front of me. I'm really excited to read this one. This one is about a best man and a maid of honor who are at a wedding where the wedding is actually canceled, like last minute, but the honeymoon was already paid for. So the best man and the maid of honor end up going on the honeymoon together. Because why not? Even though they don't really like each other. So it's going to be a sappy romance, and I'm really excited. The next book I will be reading is Rome by C.H. Armstrong, and this is for Defense Against the Dark Arts. The prompt was read a book that's where the title starts with the letter R for Reducto. That's true. It's for Reducto. But this book follows a 17-year-old girl named Abby who's got all of the high school stuff going on, but also her family's homeless. So they're living out of their car, and she's trying to keep this a secret from everyone else. So I have a feeling that I'm probably going to cry again during this one. Possibly. I don't cry a lot, but I feel like lots of books this month are going to make me cry. I don't know how I feel about that. So, yes. The next one I don't have a copy of yet. It is on its way. Is for the class History of Magic. I will be reading The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. And this is because I read Angels and Demons, and so now I move on to number 2, which is The Da Vinci Code. The prompt was to read a book that was written 10 years ago, or more. The next book I have on my list is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis, and this is for Muggle Studies, which is to read a contemporary. And I've already talked about this book, so I'm not going to go into it again. So, yes. The next one I'm going to be reading is The Burning Page by Genevieve Cogman. I love this series. This is the 3rd book in the Invisible Library series. This is for potions. Yes, this is for potions, and the prompt for this one was to read a sequel. And like I said, this is the 3rd book in a series. I recommend this series to anyone who loves fantasy and books because it follows a librarian who travels to different dimensions, all with varying degrees of magic of London. And some of them are very steampunk, some of them are exactly like our London, and some of them have like dragons and stuff. And she goes around and she collects relics from those times that are in danger of being forgotten or lost. And the last one I will be reading, possibly, I will probably read more, is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. This is for the class of Transfiguration, and the prompt was to read a red book. A book with a red cover or sprayed edges, and since I don't actually have a book with sprayed edges, other than Name of the Wind, and I already read that one. So, yeah, there we go. Those are my owls. That's what I will be reading. Yeah.
So, what we're going to do now is our most anticipated reads this month. We're, again, only going to, keep it down to 2 or less.
So, I'm going to go with mine first because I have 3.
Because she can't follow directions.
I don't follow the rules very well. I'm a bad Hufflepuff. So I'm most looking forward to Ruin of Stars because I loved the first one so much, and I'm really anxious to see what happens in the second one. I'm also looking forward to Sherwood because Robin Hood retelling, and Robin Hood is my favorite classic. And then I'm also looking forward to The Da Vinci Code because it's a classic, and I feel like I need to read it.
And then my most anticipated book this month is Define Me by Tahara Mafi. Because I love the Shatter Me series, and I just really need, after the Restore Me cliffhanger, I need so much information, and I'm so excited. But yeah, so those are our most anticipated reads this month. Leave a comment, see what are you reading this month? Have you read any of these books?
What are you looking forward to?
What are you most anticipated for in the month of April, even though we're already 10 days in, but shh, don't tell it. It'll be further in April when this gets posted.
It'll be, halfway through April by the time
it's fine. It's fine.
Shh. It's okay.
So we'll leave all of our handles below, per normal, our Instagrams, her blog, anything we might have mentioned.
Yep. Like, comment, follow us, and you can hit the little bell icon if you want to be notified whenever we put up new videos, which is going to be on Tuesdays and Fridays as of right now.
If you're a fellow booktuber who can give us any advice,
or say hi.
Or say hi.
Say hi.
We need friends.
We do need friends. We don't have any friends.
We have each other and Brittany, who you haven't met yet.
Yeah, this is us signing off. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.